welcome everyone. Now you're here, we'll have some fun. First we'll clap our hands just so, then we'll bend and touch our toes. Welcome everyone. Now you're here, we'll have some fun. Today's animal is a gray wolf. What's the Time, Mr. Wolf? By Debi, Glori. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Mr. Wolf is woken up on his birthday by 24 blackbirds. What's the time, Mr. Wolf? They tweet. It's time for blackbird pie, yawns Mr. Wolf. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. All of Mr. Wolf's neighbors slam their doors on their way to work. Bang goes the door of the stone house. Crash goes the door of the wooden house. Thud goes the door of the straw house. What's the time, Mr. Wolf? Giggle the three little pigs. It's time for bacon sandwiches, mutters Mr. Wolf. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. Here comes the girl in the little red hood bringing the mail. About time, thinks Mr. Wolf, running to the door. But there is nothing for Mr. Wolf, not so much as a card on his special day. Poor Mr. Wolf. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. Mr. Wolf is trimming the hairs on his chinny chin chin when his phone rings. Mr. Wolf hears a snort, then an oink and a giggle. Finally a voice squeals, "What's the time, Mr. Wolf?" "Not you three again," groans Mr. Wolf. "It's time you little pigs bought a watch. Goodbye," and he puts the phone down. It is 11 o'clock in the morning. Mr. Wolf's tummy gives a loud rumble. What's the time, Mr. Wolf, he wonders? Time for a snack. But when he goes to his cupboard, it is bare. Even his dish has run off with his spoon. It's 12 o'clock noon. Time to go shopping, thinks Mr. Wolf. He is halfway to the store when it starts to rain. Time I bought an umbrella, thinks Mr. Wolf. It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Boing! There's a mouse running up Mr. Wolf's clock. What's the time, Mr. Wolf squeaks? The mouse. But Mr. Wolf doesn't answer. Mr. Wolf is out. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Mr. Wolf is at the bakery. What's the hurry, Mr. Wolf? Asked the baker man. I'm baking your cake as fast as I can, patting and prodding and filling with jam. Bake for an hour, then remove from the pan. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Mr. Wolf is tired and very hungry. He is heading home when zoom, whoosh, a crowd rushes past. No time to stop, Mr. Wolf, they gasp. We're already late. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Mr. Wolf takes the shortcut home. It is cool and shady under the trees. Time for a nap, says Mr. Wolf. Hey, diddly-dee, diddly-diddly-dee. Yow! Mr. Wolf's eyes spring open. There's a cat playing the fiddle. 5 o'clock. Time to wake up, Mr. Wolf, the cat says. Shall I play some more lovely tunes on my fiddle? Mr. Wolf shudders. Good grief, he says. Is that the time? So sorry, must be going. And he runs away as fast as he can. It's 6 o'clock. Boing goes Mr. Wolf's clock. Boing, 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 boing. Shh, says Mr. Wolf's friends. Mr. Wolf is nearly home. He climbs the steps, lifts the latch, opens his door, and... Surprise! Happy birthday, Mr. Wolf. It's party time! And later, much later, all of Mr. Wolf's friends have gone home. Mr. Wolf is brushing his teeth. Mr. Wolf is pulling up the quilt. What's the time, Mr. Wolf? Asks the stars. But Mr. Wolf doesn't reply because Mr. Wolf is fast asleep. It is bedtime. You have been listening to What's the Time, Mr. Wolf? By Debi, Glori. It's called Wide-Eyed Owl. There's a wide-eyed owl with a pointed nose, 2 pointed ears and claws for toes. He lives way up in the tree, and when he looks at you, he flaps his wings and says, "Hoo, hoo." One more time, ready? There's a wide owl with a pointed nose, 2 pointed ears and claws for toes. He lives way up in the tree, and when he looks at you, he flaps his wings and says, "Woo-hoo! Woo-hoo!" Gray Wolves by Hansen. Gray wolves live in North America. They also live in Europe and Asia. Gray wolves live in many habitats. They live in forests and deserts. They live in woodlands too. A gray wolf's fur is often many colors. It is gray, black, tan, and brown. Some gray wolves are all white. Gray wolves have bushy tails. They have large, upright ears. Gray wolves are social animals. They live and hunt in packs. Each pack usually has 6 to 10 wolves. Packs work together to catch prey. They eat deer, elk, and moose. They eat smaller mammals too. They also like fish, reptiles, and fruit. One male leads each pack. A female also leads the pack. The male and female are called the alpha pair. These two are often the only wolves to have pups. A wolf litter usually has 4 to 7 pups. The pups are born in a den. The den keeps them safe and warm. They stay in their den for about 6 weeks. The pack cares for the pups. Pups can hunt at about 10 months old. Soon they might leave to join new packs. More facts. Gray wolves howl to communicate. Each wolf has a unique howl. A howl is like a person's fingerprints. No two are the same. Other wolves know exactly who is calling. A wolf can eat 20 pounds of meat at one meal. Glossary. Den. An animal's home that is often underground or on the side of a hill. Habitat. A place where an animal naturally and normally lives. Litter. All of the pups born at one time to a mother wolf. Prey. An animal hunted or killed by a predator for food. Social. Naturally living or growing in groups rather than alone. You have been listening to Gray Wolves by Grace Hansen. Guys, thanks for joining us for today's Animal Explorers Gray Wolves. We began our journey today with What's the Time, Mr. Wolf by Debi Glori, published by Bloomsbury Kids. And we got to watch as Mr. Wolf kind of thought nobody remembered his birthday. And as he went through his day, he felt kind of lonely, but his friends had a little surprise for him. Then we read Gray Wolves by Grace Hansen, published by ABDO, and we got to learn all about this animal that you might see in everyday life, right? I really like its bushy tail. And some cool other things was that I love that each wolf has their own howl. So like when you cry, your mom or dad or grown up probably recognizes that that's your cry. That's the same for wolves. How cool is that? Thanks for joining us for today's Animal Explorers Gray Wolves. Let us know your favorite animal so we can cover it on a future Animal Explorers.